All right, ladies and gents, we're back already with another video on GOLZ TV and Wake Up MLS. Look, you guys see the title of the video, man. Today, we're going to be predicting now that we can call it that, the playoffs. Actually, the 2025 MLS Cup playoffs are officially here. Now that the wild card matches, the play-in games are officially done. Those took place earlier in the week. If you're watching this, it's about a couple days ago. But we know who's in. We know who's in. And by the look of the screen, who you see on your screen today, we're going to react a little bit to what we saw in the play-in game, specifically the very first one between Orlando City and Chicago Fire. As you can see on your screen before you, we've got John Rivera, we've got John Rollins from Loud and Proud Orlando. The Juan Derby was in full effect, and we had one winner. We're going to talk about it, man. We're going to talk about it. Look, guys, let's jump right in. We're going to start with that reaction to that game. That's going to lead us into the full bracket prediction for the 2025 playoffs. Okay, so stick around. We're going to spend a few minutes talking about the play-in games, and then we're going to switch right over to the bracket. I'm going to have a strong visual. We're going to go through, play the actual bracket challenge so that we can test our ball knowledge a little bit, see who's actually going to make it all the way through to hoisting the MLS Cup trophy at the end of it all. All right, so let's dig in. The first thing I really want to focus on is that very first game. Man, if you didn't watch it, it happened at Bridgeview at SeatGeek Stadium. Chicago Fire were able to lock in their first playoff win since, was it 2009? 2009, the very first playoff win or postseason win, I guess you want to call it that. John, man, you're obviously feeling good, bro. How are we feeling after that? I know you watched the game despite being at another sporting event. Talk to me, bro. What were the emotions like?
Well, let's just say this: when you watch a blowout, kind of happen, and one sporting event makes it much easier to watch the other one, right? But no, I mean it was good. It was nice. I think for the first time in a while, I think we are starting to see kind of the wheels kind of turning for the team, right? And I think it was kind of written. I had this conversation a little bit earlier today. With how special it was for Guti to be the first one that scores a goal, right? Opening goal to kind of just get everything going. It just feels right. I think the way the story unfolded with Guti being the one actually opening up the goal sheet, like that to me, I think, any Fire fan knowing that Guti is from the area, an academy player coming through the ranks, from him being in the academy when he was young to making the first team and now obviously smashing it for us. But like, I think it's just one of those things that, it's a nice story to see. It's kind of one of those Cinderella stories that you like watching as a football fan. But yeah, no, it's really nice. I mean, we're obviously glad to be moving on forward, but interested to see how the next round plays out. Obviously, I didn't get to watch the full game. But from what I saw and what we were able to kind of display, it seemed like the Fire have, at least some sort of an identity that is being built, that we can kind of rest our heads on. So it's good for us, good for the city, and hopefully we're able to shock the MLS and beat Philly in the next round. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, bro, that'd be crazy. We're gonna talk about it. Stay tuned, guys. On the other side, the other Juan, John Rollins, bro. Look, man, we talked about it even pre-show. I know if you guys tuned into the combined 11 preview that we ran for the match, I think maybe people will say we're being optimistic from Orlando City's perspective, but they were by far the most experienced team heading into this matchup. 6 straight years of being in the playoffs, and it ended with the whimper. I think the first half, I will confidently say I was less than convinced watching Orlando play. But look, this is not really about me. I want to get John's take. Now looking back at it, man, it's been basically about a full 24 hours since that game. How are you feeling about it all? Now just kind of, again, decompressing a little bit. Oh, you're on mute, by the way, John.
It was somewhat expected in certain ways because we were just kind of on a downward trajectory. The Toronto game, I kind of felt like that was either writing on the wall of what's to come or we were going to have to react from that. And I think in that first 10 or so minutes, we saw a bit of Orlando City reaction, and then that was it, really. I mean, the end of the first half, it was 0.02 XG. Was the stat they put up on the board. We had 0 shots, like 0 everything on the stats board in the first half. And then the Fire came out in the second half and looked like a team that was hungry and wanted to be there and wanted to play. And played well and dominated us. Really, it was a terrible performance from Orlando City. I feel like the boys were, still on the plane or already mentally on the beach because they did not perform well. And we even had Jansen and Ojeda, and Cesar Arujo come back for this game, which we did not expect, and we didn't talk about in the preview. And it did make a difference. So nothing really good. Just now, where do we go from here? As Orlando City is the big question on our all of our fans' lips at the moment. And will Oscar Pereira still be here next season?
Yeah, that's a great question, and that's something that I really wanted to bring up. Right, is whether or not this is truly Pareja out. I don't know. Look, it's hard for me to really wrap my mind around this because as a Dallas fan, I have such an adoration for this manager. I think that he
and
truly
we do too. We really do as Orlando City fans. I gotta say that.
Yeah, for sure. And so, but again, when we talked about this pre-show, you mentioned that, like, from your perspective, you were maybe one of the optimists from the lens of Oscar Pareja, and he's been there quite some time. He's had a very successful stint from the outside looking in. But now, when you think about the change that might need to happen to get Orlando City back to where I think the rest of the league knows they can be, is this the change? Is this what you feel like now? Again, right? I think it's easy to be emotional after a big postseason loss. But now looking back at it, head's a little bit calmer. Do you feel like this is the change, or is it more on the player side of things?
No, I do think it's time for him to go. I think he's taken us as far as he can, in my opinion. He took us from being a club that wasn't relevant into real relevancy. And I feel like this season we took a big step backwards from the last few seasons, but in some ways we had a better team with the likes of Ojeda and Pasalic performing, better than we've seen a DP perform ever really for our club. So I kind of think that the way that the season ended, he lost them a little bit. And I don't think they're necessarily listening to him anymore. And that's why I feel like maybe a fresh voice and a new version of Orlando City is coming with major changes in this offseason with lots of our key players coming out of their last year, their contract. So I think this is the time, if you're going to do it, to make big changes. So that's what I would like the club to do.
Yeah.
A very difficult decision because we're a big fan of Oscar, but it is what it is.
Yeah. I will say this, and I did see you guys over at Louder Pound Orlando post this, and I think to me it was super interesting because, bro, he looks exhausted. Yeah, he looks so tired
in this press conference. And in the Toronto one, he looked mad. So that's why he's not covering for the players anymore.
Yeah. And so again, right, to kind of just put the quote out there, simply put, I don't believe we have been the team that possesses that energy. We faced many difficulties along the way, including adversity with players that we attempted to overcome. When we reviewed the goals from Chicago, we were not in the right positioning. I felt that it was difficult to overcome those goals from Chicago. Look, man, he's a good manager, and if he were to leave, he's gonna get snapped up quickly, right? Like that's something that I feel like MLS does poorly.
Would take him in a heartbeat.
Facts, bro. I mean, look, Quill has done a pretty good job in Dallas in his first year, but I'd take Pareja back in a heartbeat, to be honest.
Yeah, I can see it.
You know what I mean? And so I think there's, bro, with how much recycling of managers actually happens, it's actually, having now a manager that could become available, it's refreshing just to see someone who's actually been successful across several different tenures. So look, and I don't think if the club were to decide this is it, it's time for a refresh, I don't think it's a scenario where, again, you part ways on bad terms. He's had a great stint. It's at some point that time comes for every manager. And sometimes that's what you need. It's just a refreshing of the squad. It starts from the top down. And sometimes that's all the squad really needs to get back to, their ceiling at the end of the day. So, yeah, man. Either way, a good game from the neutral perspective. I did predict Orlando to also get a result in this one. It did not go that way. But I am pleasantly surprised as someone who has, tried my hardest over the last few seasons to show some support for Chicago, to see them finally kind of put it all together in a good way, surprisingly under Triple G, and get this dub was pretty impressive. So it should be interesting, man. We'll talk about Philly versus Chicago. That's going to be a big one. And then the last thing I really kind of want to mention before we move on to the actual bracket is really going to be, again, Portland, right? Going to the Western Conference now, the game that immediately followed Orlando versus Chicago. it was the late one. If you stood up and checked it out, man, it actually ended up being a banger, especially in the first half. Had the 3 goals, or 3 of the 4 goals come in very quickly. And it felt like this was going to be the shootout that we thought Orlando versus Chicago was end up being. And so, going into this game, man, I'm really kind of curious. I'll give my take on this first, then we can just again get some quick reactions and move on. But that's the wrong one. In terms of Portland, the goals they got, 3 in a postseason match. Neville gets his postseason win. That's crazy, right? I mean, oh man, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. I still can't believe it. But it is RSL at the end of the day. I don't know, man. This one is it a
postseason win if it's the play-in game? Are we counting that? I'm just checking.
Counting everything, I guess. I mean, if the league's counting it, I am.
I think the league's counting it.
I don't think Orlando City were in the playoffs this year, right? We never made it, in my opinion. So
hey, all I saw on the bottom of the screen when I was watching the Orlando game was this was their 6th season in a row making it to the postseason.
Yeah.
So,
I'm sure they like to put that stat out there.
It was good, man. But look, Neville overcomes his demons, gets the dub. Is this what Portland needed? Should we start taking this team seriously? That's my question to you.
Have you not been taking them seriously?
Hell no. There's no way. No. They have not beaten a good team all season, and I still stand by that statement. It is still true to this day. I do not consider RSL a good team.
I was going to say, I think that's something that we definitely mentioned throughout the season as a whole. But I think it's funny that the vindication of Phil Neville in this channel is he got his comeuppance there, so he got the win that no one wanted to see him win. But you know what? I think for them, like honestly, that this means a lot, to them. Obviously, moving past the era of the players that they used to have, and kind of just moving forward. So, is this a Kickstarter forward? Probably not. I don't think that this is like the game that's gonna make them push them forward and be this powerhouse in the West, but I think it could be something to build off of. Maybe it gives them a little bit of confidence and, knowing that they have at least something that they can hang their heads on and just, kind of move forward with that. But, I think it's a great win for the Timbers. I mean, they did show a lot more character than what I thought they actually had. So, fair play to them.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy. When you think about the Timbers and like what's coming up next, we'll have those discussions. But if Neville's able to pull off some magic in round 1, what does that say? Like that would be, and again, granted, it's the first year for an expansion team. We'll talk about San Diego and whatnot, but put the opponent aside. When I ask myself the question, can they build on this? What does that look like? Because it's such a daunting opponent, right? San Diego has stomped over everybody, and we'll talk about that for sure when I pull up the bracket soon. But how do you even get ready for a game like this? Is the RSL result meaningful enough to carry you into this postseason and try to make some waves? Or is this enough? Like, hey, you know what? They won the play-in game. They got smacked in playoffs last year. At this point, the play-in game as well, 5-0 on their home soil. Like, Providence Park hasn't been what we've known it to be for so many years now. Is this the small dub they needed to hopefully not build on it this season, but build under Neville for seasons to come? John Rollins, how do you feel about this as also being a Neville hater?
I'd say maybe, but also no. I think it's just it's not enough in my opinion. Like I think you need to go on like a real playoff run, and I think here, they're going to play San Diego. I think it ends there. I think it was RSL is one thing, but when you get into the playoffs and you're playing the top teams in the West, I don't think they can hang. I really don't. And I think San Diego put 4 on them at the end of the season. Now they got to play them across 3 games. I don't see them coming out of that with a positive result. So maybe then they could say, okay, we made the playoffs and it's a step in the right direction. But with Phil Neville, we saw this with Miami as well. It's like, it's a little bit at a time and it's not enough. And I think, like I spoke about in the last video, he's just not a very highly rated manager in this league. And I think he gets a lot of chances. So if I was Portland, I would move on. I don't think he's doing much for you, in my opinion.
I agree. I agree. But I think, again, it's going to be a crazy question they have to ask themselves if they keep this round one best of 3 series close to San Diego. I don't see it happening. I think San Diego has so much firepower. Mikey Varas has that team moving mad right now. And I don't think that there's any realistic world where they keep that close. But if they do, it's one of those scenarios as fans where you have to ask yourself, is that enough? Is that enough? Portland fans in the
If
comments,
they get
I would
past
love to
San
know.
Diego, yeah, I think so. Man.
Man.
That's a result. Like,
Yeah.
you've
It's a
sown
massive
something in
result.
the playoffs.
Well, look, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Guys, now we're going into the bracket predictions fully. We're going to break the entire bracket down. We're going to start with San Diego versus Portland. MLS still hasn't updated this, so maybe they're still mad that Phil Neville got through. Who knows? But at the end of the day, we're here. We're here. We're going to break it down. Look, man, 3 games. You got 1 game at home if you're Portland. Can they win one? Can they win this home game that they have? Realistically. It's tough, bro. I think
It wouldn't shock me if they did.
It would actually shock me. I feel like San Diego can still go on the road on the West Coast and still get a result.
Yeah, but you gotta I think it plays into account. Like, again, it's the MLS experience of this all. Like, I don't feel like I can't rule that out of the equation because it's a new. It's hard to really say because obviously we don't know what San Diego is like in the playoffs. Like, regular season's one thing, and I think people kind of take that for what it is just because of what happened to St. Louis. But I feel like this is a completely different situation. And we were kind of talking about this before. Like, it's a completely different situation. It's different players. Like, the quality of players that San Diego has is nowhere near the quality that St. Louis had, at the time. And we've seen what's kind of happened to them. So I don't think this is something that can be heavily, weighed on when it comes to San Diego. But in terms of Portland, could they get one? Maybe. And if they do, it's going to be at home. I wouldn't see them going into San Diego and getting a win. So if they can get one, it would be at home. But I don't think they probably won't even get one. But if I'm honest, if there's any realm of possibility of them even getting one, it's at home.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, like, keep in mind, they traveled to Portland very recently, back on was it last week?
End of the season, yeah. 4-0.
Yeah, it was the close season now on decision day. And they smacked them 4-0 at Providence Park.
Yeah.
So
I feel like if San Diego win the first game convincingly, it's like blood in the water, and then they're going to want to go to Philly and kill it in 2 and not play that third game. And I could see them doing that.
Yeah.
It might be tighter in Portland, but I think they have enough quality to win it in 2 games.
Yeah. Now, something to keep in mind for all the San Diego fans at home, you guys probably have seen the news relatively from Tom Bogert on the timeline. There are sources saying that Chucky Lozano's status for the playoff run is uncertain. I don't really know what that means. If anybody here's an L3 fan, you know very well that Chucky Lozano tends to wear out his welcome to an extent. He's done it in the past. He's had issues for whatever reason, locker room issues, or just not instilling the most confidence either across from the coaching staff or even his fellow teammates. So something to really kind of note, right? As we kind of look at this, Link, just give us a different view here. But again, with his status being uncertain, the situation seems to stem from an altercation that took place after Lozano got subbed out in that game against Houston. So, and apparently, if people are saying that he needs to prove himself in the locker room, heading into a playoff series, that's problematic. That's problematic. It's the last kind of vibe you want when you need your team to start building momentum, peaking at the right time. You don't want to deal with locker room issues. That's the last thing you want to deal with at this point of the season. So
and that's probably why they're going to freeze him out. Like, I mean, I wouldn't. As a manager, are you really going to invite that sort of attention in, or do you want to keep the core of your group more or less concentrated on this?
I mean, something like this will derail your playoff.
Yeah, for sure.
Just because it creates such an issue, and then the squad is focused on this and not on playing.
Yeah, not on the. Yeah, so that's what I mean. Like, that's why they could. I mean, they could get one. But I don't know. You give me San Diego though, hands down.
Yeah, I think so too. So
Dreyer is a big part of this. Like, I think Dreyer's
sure.
he knows what to do. Like, he's stepped up in so many different ways, and I think he will step up again in the playoffs.
Does Dreyer win Newcomer of the Year?
I think so.
He has to.
I think so.
He has to.
He has to.
I think giving it to Son would be harsh because he only just got here. Like, it's It's the
But
sexy pick,
we know
but
MLS.
He's not really been here the whole season.
Underrated obviously
Yeah.
because his team performed, right? But
It's a very
underrated,
MLS thing to do.
underrated shout,
For
Zinkernagel,
real,
bro.
for real. That's the most MLS thing ever.
No, it would be MLS, but I'm saying under the radar, maybe because the team didn't perform as well. But obviously Zinkernagel, I think.
Yeah. And he's to me, it's in that order. It's Dreyer, Zinkernagel, Son. Like those are the three favorites, and I think that you have to look at those two first before you look at
also being a newcomer on a brand new team is different from being a newcomer on an existing team. So that for me adds to Dreyer's argument.
Yeah. No, and you're not going to hear any argument from me. Dreyer wins it. I mean, their teams performed a whole hell of a lot better than we have. So
plus, bro, the dude has more assists than anybody in the league, and he's got more assists than the majority of the league have goals. It's actually insane. So all right, well, we'll see how it goes. But again, I honestly I think this is a 2-0. Like this should be a pretty clinical 2-0 unless that disruptive force in the locker room really starts to take over. But hopefully they're mature enough to get past that. All right, let's go to the one directly beneath it to see who San Diego will play the next round. This one is actually very interesting. Minnesota and Seattle across 3 games. This has potential to be either one of the most fire series that we've seen in playoffs, or it's going to be Seattle-Houston from last season all over again. It's one of the two. It really is either end of the spectrum at this point. I think both teams are better, but they have this ability to just make games super boring, very defensive, keep everything in front of you, play compact if you have to, and both teams do it well. So, of course, I think the glaring question from my perspective is, and maybe now after what happened in the play-in game on Wednesday, I feel differently. But one team is heavily experienced in the postseason, and the other team not so much for a number of reasons, right? So, Brian Schmetzer's guys. Everybody knows how experienced the Sounders are in the postseason. This tends to be when they start to really click and get things going, and I feel like they have, for whatever reason, more offensive firepower this season, at least at this point of the year, versus a very fundamentally sound Minnesota United team. I think Ramsey, as the manager, has them doing the right things, keeping every game close at a minimum, and even if it's close, just finding ways to more often than not win games. And they're not sexy, but they have arguably the goalkeeper of the year in Dane St. Clair, a pretty solid back line. They lost that their striker. I don't want to try to butcher his name, but is it Oluwayesi? I want to say it was like his last name. If Loons fans, if I'm butchering that, I'm sorry. But I think Yeboah's still up there, can still do the job. So they'll have opportunities. Part of me just feels like Seattle's going to find a way to take over like they always do. Right? I mean, does anybody else agree with me on that front, or is anybody pulling for the Loons here?
I'm gonna actually pull for Minnesota. I don't know. I feel like this could be one of the start of like what Minnesota can build. Obviously, over the last couple of years that they've been slowly building on prior seasons. But I think if there's any team that can kind of not that Seattle's like on a downside, but if there's any team that they can kind of get at in the playoffs right now, Seattle would be a good team to do it on. Obviously, the name's there, the recognition's there, but like if they were to do it to Minnesota, that would be a good result for them. I feel like they could. So I feel like there's a team that could shock maybe in this first round. It'd probably be Minnesota in terms of just upsetting something that not a lot of people might see. So
yeah, I mean, look, we all know my boy Jesus Ferreira is about to show up, right? In epic fashion, he will show up. You know what I mean? So, but looking at this proposed lineup here, I'm kind of curious to see who we think could actually step up individually. And I know I somewhat troll about Ferreira, but I do believe that he is experienced enough. He's seen the postseason numerous times at FC Dallas. He's bringing that experience over to Seattle, who's already a well-oiled machine. I feel like there's strong opportunity for them to truly, even if they aren't hosting that first game, truly dominate the opening match and set the tone. But I think it's going to come down to what their back line ultimately looks like. Why is Yeimar injured?
That I'm not sure.
Yeah, that I can't remember.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure. But that's intriguing to me.
Yeah, he's injured.
Yeah, he's injured. He's injured. So that part's really intriguing to me because I think the combination of him and Reagan make that center back duo extremely difficult to beat.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also wondering if Nuhu does Nuhu things in this fucking game. You know what I mean? Like,
I
Do
do.
we get Scrappy Nuhu? Do we get a cheeky red card? What do you think?
I'm sure they make the game interesting. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll
I mean,
say
I don't know. It's interesting.
Minnesota had their number this year in the league. They've beaten them twice. I think if you're Seattle, like you're perennially confident because you're Seattle and you always end up to be deep in the playoffs somehow. No matter what your season's doing, you somehow or end up in the Western Conference Finals, or whatever. So that's how I see Seattle is like they'll stumble their way through and make it through just because they're that playoff team that seems to win games in playoff situations. But I don't think they want to play Minnesota of all the teams. Obviously, they've beaten them twice this year. And I think Minnesota will sit in and make it gritty and make it tough. And that's the kind of team that can upset Seattle, right? Like they're also like that. But if you play them at their own game, I think that's the best chance you have.
Yeah.
So we'll see. It's going to be tight.
Yeah. So before we move on from this, I want to give our prediction. Who's the X Factor player for either team from your perspective?
I mean, De La Vega's got to do something for Seattle. Like he's really got to, like in Leagues Cup, he was cooking. Like they need to be like they were in Leagues Cup again. That was the Seattle that they can be anybody in this league.
If that Seattle shows up,
yeah,
we might be in trouble. They might the West might actually have
they're coming off 3 wins. They're going to be confident. Like I said, they know what they're doing in the playoffs. I think for Minnesota, yeah, probably. I don't know. What do you say, Pereira or Robin Lod, Will Trapp? I mean, who's the guy? I don't know if they're that kind of team. It's more of like a group effort.
They're more of a unit. They've always been.
Yeah,
more of a unit.
It's not like, hey, this is the guy we're gonna hang our hat on. It's more of that group mentality that Eric Ramsey's done a good job of instilling.
Yeah, actually, for me, Minnesota, I think it's going to end up being Dane St. Clair. I feel like
that's a good shout.
Yeah, I think he's just experienced enough.
He's a baller this season.
The pride of Canada. I think he's absolutely going to come in here and put on a performance. I think he's going to have to, because from my perspective, the Seattle X Factor may not even start. I think that Schmetzer might go conservative with his lineup, but I feel like De Rosario is a beast in this lineup. And I think that if he does start, it'll be exciting to watch and see what happens. I think a lot of Seattle fans may even say Denny Musovsky. He's probably been the guy as of late to really step up.
Rothrock off the bench is going to make an impact.
Yeah. In a weird way, Seattle has more offensive pieces to be excited about than they've had in quite some time. Like, if we're being honest, right? Everybody from Ferreira to De La Vega to Rothrock, Musovsky, even was it Baker Whiting, De Rosario. There's just like pieces that Schmetzer can call upon to really change this game if the opening hour plus doesn't go the way that he wants it to. So for that reason, right, the depth of it all, I'm actually probably going to end up back in Seattle. I think Minnesota will make it very, very difficult. I see this one going the full 3 games.
Yeah.
But I feel like for whatever reason, maybe it's experience again. I always lean on that. But
Seattle home advantage over the 3 games, I think, is big here.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Seattle.
It's not. They're at Minnesota at home. Apologies.
Yeah.
I think that matters. That matters. Minnesota 2 home games. That's a big advantage for them.
How cold is it in Minnesota right now? Anybody know?
Probably. I mean, if it's in the 40s here, it's probably about to say about 40s, 50s.
That Midwest cold though hits diff. Diff.
I mean, I can tell you real quick. Yeah. We want a weatherman coming through. All right, weatherman
with the update.
Updating.
Rollins,
so it looks like for next week it'll be the 50s.
50s? Oh, it's not bad. So Allianz it'll be packed. Like, I think even if it was super cold, it probably still be packed, but definitely now for sure gonna be packed. What are we thinking, guys? I'm gonna go Seattle, but I'll lean on the majority here.
I'm gonna go Seattle, just playoff dogs.
You can go Seattle, but I low-key want Minnesota. I want to see the.
I would like to see Minnesota do it.
That'd be crazy. I think that'll be I know people are going to say, oh, but Minnesota finished high in the table. It's not going to be an upset. Bro, it's going to be an upset. Like, Seattle's such an experienced team. They have so many pieces. We just talked about it. It will, in my mind, be an upset. Regardless,
one game, Minnesota in their house, I'd go for it, but over the 3.
Hey, even Obed Baca can make an appearance. You never know.
Yeah, that would be huge if he comes back.
Yeah, we'll see. He's so good, man. He's so good. How he's not in Europe already is beyond me. All right, we will get to the next round just 1 second. Let's go over to the east side now on the right side of the screen. Let's get that one done. John, talk to me, bro. John Rivera. What are we thinking, man? Chicago, Philly, upset Central potentially, bro.
Do you want my like
Is Triple
My
G
heart
gonna do
opinion,
it? Is he gonna
or
win?
do you
No,
want- do you
bro.
want my
I want the
logical
fan to
opinion?
come out. I want the fan, bro. Give me
The
fan.
fan is the fan
The
is saying
agenda.
that
Where's the
if we get
excitement,
through
John? You
Philly,
beat me.
if
Come on,
we
like
get through
gloat.
the fan in me is saying if we get through Philly, we can easily make it past New York or
Charlotte.
or Charlotte. So the fan in me wants to say that we can get it done and we're gonna make at least conference finals.
Are you
I'll
gonna
say
be the
this:
Red Bulls
if
of
we
2025?
if
Is
we
that
beat
y'all?
Philly in this series, we're going to MLS
Yeah.
Cup, bro.
Ooh, I like it. I like it.
I mean,
I like it.
If you beat Philly over 3,
You know why I say that
could
though?
be
You know why I say
anybody
that? Just
in
because
a game.
Philly is such a good team. Like they're so good in comparison to a lot of the other teams. Like everyone in the East is pretty competitive, right? Relative to each other. But I feel like they kind of stood out to be the strongest of the bunch. Obviously, with everything that they have going for them, obviously this is a new Philly, new team, new vibes. But if we can get it done, I don't know if there's a team that can stop us right now. I mean, we're over the past couple of games, we've been a little bit more consistent. I think even the Orlando game kind of still continued to show that. So ideally, if we can get this done, who knows? Who knows what we can do? But you know what? Give me Chicago. Hey, give me my team. I'm gonna back my boys. I'm gonna back my boys.
Say it with chest, bro. Say it with chest. I will say this. You're right. Both teams have lost a very key player throughout the season, right? You have Franco on Chicago side. You had Quinn Sullivan on Philly side. Carnell's up for Coach of the Year. I honestly, from Philly's perspective, put everything else aside, I'm actually happy for him. I think St. Louis bailed on him way too early. But I think you have to also look at just what's already happened this season. And, bro, I mean, the 2 games that they played, Philly won both. One was a 1-0, one was a 4-0. So,
yeah,
I
you're
think
5-0 on the season against them. That's not a good look for the playoffs.
It's not great. It's not great. But I think there's something to be said about the momentum that winning a play-in game carries. I think what you said before, Rollins, about can you be the Red Bulls of this season? That's a real thing. I feel like playoffs just presents a brand new opportunity to hit the reset button. Mm-hmm. And if you can win that game by a decent margin, that play-in game, it just creates momentum in the weirdest way. You kind of just start to believe, regardless of who you're playing, you've already got the first dub. You're not cold. There's no nerves. You've already kind of tackled that aspect of it all. And I think at the end of the day too, for the most part, that Philly is the better team. The pressure is on the Union. They are the Shield winners. They have to come out and really put on a show to really, I think in my mind, convince the league that they're for real in this postseason. But I have to see it. I have to really see it. So
that front 3 was cooking against Orlando City, John. Like you got to be Kuipers and Zink. Like that is a great relationship. That Gutierrez was playing really well.
Waiting for Bamba to pop. Like
Bamba was even the break. Like I think it's interesting that Triple G moved to that back 4 against us because I know you can do the back 3 as well. And I was looking back at this game you played against Philly with a 4-0. You went to the back 4, and it obviously didn't work. You're like matching them 1-for-1. So maybe they goes with the back 3 and be a bit more defensive. I don't know. I think Greg is an X factor here. As much as people want to hate on him, he's still a very good coach.
Yeah,
and he can throw some wrinkles in here at Bradley Carnell, and we'll see how they deal with that. But I'm optimistic for you, John. But I think over 3 games, probably Philly are going to be a little bit too good.
No, for sure. Like I said, I mean, Philly's a very good team. Ty Baribo is a very good striker. Like, I was surprised, at least this year, how well Ty Baribo actually played. Like, to me, that's kind of – it's not the deciding factor, but to me, what will be the real tell is how our midfield can kind of take over some of that pressure and how they're going to be able to create moving forward. Because I know the 2 games that we played against Philly, they did not look good. So try to take some of that, learning from that, and how can we have our midfield kind of look more or less how they did against Orlando, but now knowing that, honestly, there is no pressure because the one thing that was weighing on us heavily was making the playoffs. Now we're here. So pressure is off of us, and now at this point, it's how can we continue moving forward with actually just being optimistic and not even cautiously optimistic. It's just being, you know what, we're here, and let's just see if we can shock the league and see how far we can go. But if I had to back anyone to do it right now with the way that the team spirit seems like it is in comparison to how it was a couple of years ago, I could see the Fire doing it. But I just need to see a little bit, I want to see it. If in this first game we come out and we play cautious and try to play on the counter, might not be the right idea. Maybe we have to go there and smack them in the mouth and try to get that result and then bring it back home and try to close it out. I think if that happens, that's something that we can take and move forward at home. But that's what we'll need to do.
I agree. Triple G, if you watch this by some odd chance, bro, you need to put your balls on the table. Put your balls on the table, bro. You absolutely have to in this game. No fear. Zero fear. Go at Philly. See what you can get. The first game also feels like house money. It almost feels like house money. Yeah.
There's nothing to lose. So why not?
So look, bro, I'll be honest, man. I think Guti might have convinced me. I'm going to back Chicago Fire. I'm going to back Chicago Fire. Upset the Philly Union.
I mean, he hit the post twice. He could have had 3.
He had a great first half.
He was balling.
Old baby first half before that goal. Yeah. I feel like I saw enough in that game to feel like if you guys could come out with that same level of confidence that anything is possible. If Kuipers is somehow even more clinical in this game, if Zinchenko can do half of what he did throughout the season, you have the pieces. People can look at the table and say whatever, but you have the pieces. So
you know what? Shockingly enough, give me a Gutman goal.
Holy shit!
Give me a Gutman goal.
I'll take it
because that dude is not that dude's the kind of guy that if I had to put some strong money on a guy that will confidently take a couple shots at goal, even if he's at range, he'd be the one to do it, and he might actually smack one. He's that good at shooting from range. So
we'll see, bro. 2 out of 3, Chicago advances. Bro, I'm going to say this. This is pissing me off. The fact that it says Chicago or Orlando is actually upsetting me. Same thing with this Portland RSL. Like, why is MLS updating their website, bro? This is crazy.
All the money they got.
Come on, Jose. 24 hours? What do you think they're...
My bad.
Come on.
I thought that $1 billion MLS Apple deal was...
it was just yesterday, this game. The playoffs are tomorrow.
My bad. But yeah, look, guys, again, this might be a crazy take, but if it comes true, please find me in the comments. I will be down there fighting every one of you, every single one of you. All right.
That's a bold prediction here, guys. I hope it works out.
Bold prediction. It's a very bold prediction.
Good luck, John.
It would be insane. And playoffs.
I'm excited.
MLS needs drama. We need it.
I'm more for the Chicago Fire now. Let's go.
All right. Charlotte, New York City. This was kind of close. This was pretty close in my opinion. But I think for me, it's going to go 3 games, but I have a very clear-cut winner. I would love to hear from the Eastern Conference contingents before I give my take, though. Ron, start with you, man. How do you feel?
Charlotte.
You think so? That straightforward?
Yeah, I know. I'm sure Davi's crying somewhere, but it's just for me, New York are a team that is like they're good one game and then bad another game. I don't think they're like they pulled it around at the end of the year, but I just don't see the consistency, and they're going into this game off the back of 2 losses. Orlando City know how that went, and the fact that they only have to play 1 in their house in the baseball stadium is why I'd go with Charlotte. If it was the other way around, I would definitely pick New York City. I think that they will win their home game, but I think Charlotte will take it in 3. And I think also the Charlotte's home fans are really like a 12th man there, and they get behind that team during playoffs. I saw it last year with Orlando City versus Charlotte, and I think this year they will have enough quality to get past New York.
Yeah. Is Zaha suspended for the first game?
I don't know.
Let me look that up.
Yeah, I think I saw something on MLS's website. He might be suspended.
BL's still out, and Pekovic is out.
Gotcha. I think if they get it done over the 3, not the 2.
Look, I agree.
The 3, not the 2.
Yeah, I think it's going to be the 3. I agree with what Rollins said. There's going to be one game that's super chaotic, and it's going to be the baseball stadium at the end of the day. It's going to be super chaotic. But even if you look historically at this matchup over time, not just this season, but even the last couple seasons, it's always the home team that wins. It is almost always, if they play at the bank, it's Charlotte. If they play at the baseball stadium, it's New York. And so, I mean, it seems very clear-cut. Like, it's just 2 of these games are going to favor Charlotte. And I just don't know if New York City has enough outside of, Ozzy up front to, like, really meaningfully create a ton of havoc for Charlotte. And to top it all off, I think Charlotte, even despite their up and down form this season, still probably boasts the league's best home record or one of the best home records. So yeah, man, I think it's pretty clear from my perspective.
Is
So I
this
think
a start? I was going to ask,
What?
is this a start to big things for Dean Smith?
Does it mean big things for
Like
Dean?
is this the start for him to kind of make the jump? Because obviously, like in
I
the
think he
regular
has
season,
to.
he had success, but will this playoff win kind of stamp that? It's Dean Smith, the quality of the coach, just the overall how much that team has grown over the last year and a half ish.
Yeah.
Is this playoff win what stamps that and kind of cements them and helps them push forward, or does that derail them if they lose?
No, I don't know if it derails them entirely because I feel like there's been a lot of ups and downs this season in general. You can argue a lot of people were already giving up on Dean Smith in the middle of the season. To be fair, they had that whole like weird run and the start of that final third of the season. So
they ended up where I expected them to be
that's
in
a
that
good
top
point.
4, but it didn't look convincing they had to finish the season well to get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and keep in mind, right? And granted, the league was locked up already too, but I mean, they also finished the season in a better fashion than New York City did. New York City actually, has no momentum coming into this playoffs.
Makes a big difference, I can tell you.
Yeah, 100%. Listen, that was us.
I can tell you, don't come into the playoffs on a loss.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be Charlotte. Davi, we apologize, bro, but it is what it is, man. Game is game.
Yeah, love
game
you, bro, but sorry.
All right, and we will come back to this this part of the bracket really quickly. Now let's go through the Western Conference side of this first round. I think it's somewhat straightforward on this side of the bracket too, but we'll talk about it. LAFC in Austin. I'll be honest, bro. It's probably going to be fucking LAFC.
There's no argument against.
Yeah.
There's not. They're too good.
Football. Come on. This is going to happen. It'll be over 3 legs, and you know why? Because Nico's going to get a shitty 1-0 result at home, and they're going to carry this shit over. I can see it happening because those Austin fans show up, like regardless whether or not those guys show up. So I could see a little set piece goal, 1-0, park the bus all the way till the 90th minute, bro. I can see that.
Prime Haram ball, yeah.
Yeah, I can see it. That's Nico ball. That's Nico ball. Like,
yeah, I'm not arguing.
2 games this year were 1-0 each way.
Oh my god, bro, this is totally terrible. This is going to be a terrible match.
You're right, John.
What did I tell you? What did I tell you about Nico and the football that he plays? It's literally just 1-0 wins. 1-1
and
draws.
1-0 to Austin both times with that terrorist ball.
Yeah,
but that's all he knows how to do. Sit back, defend, 1-0. But that's what I'm saying. LAFC will get it done just because they have the firepower to do it. Because I mean, let's be realistic. Austin doesn't really have that. So they'll sit back most of the games, try to counter. They won't get it done in the first one. Second leg, they'll go back home. They'll get one little win, and then it'll just be a blowout. So,
the only proviso I say is that this was before Human Song got here.
Yeah.
So I think he is a difference maker in playoffs. Like I don't see him not scoring a goal, in this series.
Oh, he's scoring for sure.
He's going to get multiple in this series. So
100%.
Where are the goals coming from Austin? I think that's my question. You can win one of these games 1-0 maybe, but I don't think you can win 3 of them 1-0. That would be crazy.
No, and again, it's not even the fact they lost Vasquez a long time ago because he wasn't scoring at a crazy rate either. It's that Rubio's now no longer in the mix. Bukhari, who granted he also had some struggles throughout the season, but he offered so much athleticism, so much quickness as a winger that, bro, they're probably going to roll out Owen Wolf might legitimately be their most threatening offensive piece, going forward. I really believe that. I don't know who else is meaningfully going to make some waves for Austin, despite the fact that Nico Ball will be in play. And then, of course, right, you offer LAFC, or sorry, Heung-min Son offers LAFC his, I don't know, I guess you call it mentality going into crucial games. So much experience there, so much goal-scoring prowess. But Wonga wants this. I think the only silver lining from Austin's perspective is that there is some sort of revenge factor here. Is that you think back to 2022, the Western Conference Final, LAFC knocking them out, going to MLS Cup, winning it all. I remember Ednan talking about how he was just kind of standing there, the gold and black confetti just kind of going over his face, and it just felt like one of the worst ones you could have as a fan. I think that the fans will be up for this, but I just don't think it's going to matter. I really don't. I think
Yeah.
LAFC
Do you think
is
they
too
get
much
done too, then?
firepower.
I think they can get done too. I'm just saying, like, if Austin gets one, it'll be at home.
Going back to the old, you need to go into the playoffs on good form. Up until this, Austin lost 4 of their last 5.
Oh yeah, no,
I mean, they did beat LA. One of them, that win was the 1-0 against LAFC, but all the other games in that 5 they lost. So
yeah, it's cooked. It's cooked.
I think they're coming in hot enough to get the result.
GG's. LAFC takes that one for sure. And then we go to the other side to figure out who their opponent will be. And I think almost everyone is saying, rightfully so, it's going to be Vancouver. It's hard to argue that. I'm a Dallas fan. It's fucking hard to argue that. I will say this, though, right? It's crazy how we got a chance to play against our playoff opponent going into the damn series, right? Beat Vancouver at BC Place. Sure, there was a cheeky red card, whatever, right? But beat them at BC Place to get into the postseason. And now, right, have to do it again and do it twice, right? Win at least one of the games at BC Place and try to get that home win. Dallas is in very good form coming into this, right? They lost one game in the last 9 or 10 going into this playoff series. And so it's a massive opportunity for them. And keep in mind, in that game against Vancouver very recently, last week, they did not have either of their 2 starting forwards in Petar Musa or Logan Farrington. So there's bro, it's just like Jim Carrey never done it, right? There's a chance.
Give me your fan from the heart. How do you feel? Give me from the heart.
John that's like the Uno reverse card.
Give me
back at you there, bro.
Now I have to talk with chest. Right? Bro, I'm not gonna lie, for a weird reason, I'm kind of confident. I don't know why. I don't know what it is. I cannot tell you. It's maybe because we didn't make playoffs last season. I don't know what we're going to be going into this season with all these changes. But bro, without Lucho Acosta, this team is confident. They're cooking with fucking gas right now, bro. I don't know. I feel like if we get an early goal by Musa, there's so much of an opportunity. Even if we were to lose in penalties at BC Place, I guarantee on this channel, on this show, that we win at home. And this becomes a very interesting game 3. So I don't know, man. There's so much momentum right now behind this manager, behind this team. The vibes are at an all-time high. I will say on paper, this team is collectively better than us on every level. They are. And now you throw Muller into the mix, and there's just so much experience wrapped around this Vancouver team that on paper we should not stand a chance. But for that reason, this underdog mentality can just create opportunity. So I'm going to back my boys. I have Dallas in 3.
All right.
Dallas in 3. How are we feeling, Rollins?
I personally watched Mueller rip my team apart recently. So he's a baller, right? And I just think that he has the Raumdeuterness, whatever you want to call it, the ability to create without really having to run or move that much and just being that space killer. I saw it firsthand, and he will do that over 3 games a lot. So I think that's the X factor, is they brought in the guy at the right time. And I think they were very good this year, but adding in Mueller makes you really, really, really good. And I think it's just going to be too much for Dallas. I think, you guys are maybe 1 game, but over 3. I think that's with a lot of these teams here. The 3 games really does weed out the lower of the 2 teams, right? Most of the time, the superior team is going to get those results over to the 3.
Yeah. It's like, it's encouraging, right? And I agree with you. The pragmatic, realistic side of me as a fan is like, if we go out in 3 and we make it super scrappy and close every game, I can't be mad. I really can't. It's like playing with house money.
Because where do you guys come, like 7th?
Yeah, 7th, and at and before the final third of the season started, we were in 13th. Yeah. So
it's
crazy run. John Rivera, how you feeling, man? Feel free
I'm sorry.
to.
I like the heart. I like I like how passionate, like it really touched me right in the heart the way that you were speaking.
That's crazy. That's a crazy take.
But I'm gonna be so real. I'm sorry. Give me Vancouver, bro.
I'm gonna be
Like
so
Vancouver,
real.
like stomping, mopping that shit.
All
Like,
right,
I can't lie.
go back, Jose. Change Chicago Fire to Florida, 'cause I
You know what, man? You're right. That's a great
Nah.
take. Not wrong. No, I like that. You know, it's fine. It's fine. I'll be the one to die on this hill, but I like
I
it.
say this in the nicest way. Like I'm joking. Like I want your club to do well because I want to see you happy, smiling. You know, I want to see those positive vibes, you know, coming through. But honestly, I just think Vancouver got the quality to do it. You know,
Yeah,
I think Vancouver, like I know, like towards the end of it, things kind of looked a little bit, you know, not as well as it did at the beginning. But you know, this is still there's something about them. They got some sort of vibe, and to me, I feel like they might be the ones to actually go to MLS Cup. I can't lie.
That's true. You do not go out of your way to bring in Thomas Muller to go out in the first round. I will say that as like the devil's advocate here from my standpoint. So I agree, man. I agree. If Vancouver goes through, as long as we make it a series, right? Take even one of these games that BC plays to penalties, bro. I can't be mad. I'll be so excited and ecstatic about what comes next season. And you know, we go out with our heads held high. But bro, trust me, if we upset Vancouver, I'm gonna be fucking unbearable. I'm gonna be unbearable. Like you guys don't even understand how unbearable I'm gonna be.
I'll look for you in the timeline,
bro. It's gonna be insane. I'm gonna be all over the timeline, guys. You're gonna have to block me or mute me because it's gonna be wild, bro.
Rivera's gonna be celebrating his Chicago Fire, so he won't notice.
Hey, I'm telling you,
bro. If he beats Philly, I expect John to be everywhere, bro.
Yeah,
everywhere.
Come on, John.
You know where I'm gonna be, bro? I'm a pull up. Look. If we make the MLS Cup, I might have to do some.
Bro, he's already talking MLS Cup.
Here we go.
Crazy.
I might have to do some crazy shit. Maybe we have to come up with
tattoo.
Sort of idea. Hey, drop a comment. If we hold on, I'll say this: if the Fire win MLS Cup, I'll do whatever the top comment in this video says.
Hey, there it is.
There
it is. You heard
if
it.
That happens. I really doubt it does, but if it happens, I'll do whatever the top comment says, bro.
Drop that comment. All right, man. I think it's gonna be a crazy, wild scenario if it happens. But I imagine Triple G being the unlock for the Fire that gets them to MLS Cup, dude. Those loyal supporters that are still there, just remembering the old days of the USMNT, they'll be loud and proud. Shout out John Rollins on the timeline, bro. On the timeline. All right. Let's go over to this is going to be a juicy matchup, by the way. Revenge factor here. All right. Miami, Nashville. That is happening when this video is published on the day of the video going live. This will be the first playoff game. Does Messi crash out in round one again?
You know what? Before during the pre-show, we were talking about it, and I was like, maybe they get it done. You know, the more I'm sitting here and thinking about it, though. Nah, fuck them. They ain't gonna do shit. Give me Nashville over 3 games, and I'm gonna give
spit
Messi
my water out, bro.
I was gonna side with them, but they're the ops. Like I can't do that. Like we gotta yeah, over 3 games. Give me Nashville. Like honestly, I think this Nashville, BJ Callahan has his team playing so nice. I feel like just overall top and bottom, like this roster is better constructed, and I feel like I know Miami has the firepower to do it, but I feel like they turn up every once in a while whenever they want to. But I feel like Nashville has that consistency factor going with it. So I feel like Nashville, get it done for the whole league, bro. Get it done for MLS. Kick these guys to the can, let them go retire, send them to Cancun. Come on. We'll see you in the next round.
Bro, take a look at this lineup, man. I think it's going to be interesting, right? Surge is going to have to literally be locked in. Him and Mukhtar have to have a connection. That I'm not saying they'd be locked in to beat Miami's defense. That's very, very possible. I think it's more of a scenario of preventing a scenario where you open the door for Messi to be Messi at the end of the day. Like you have to try to find a way to stay focused and concentrated in that final 15, 20 plus minutes of the game where Messi seems to almost always take over. How do you feel like if you put yourself back in 2024, how do you feel Atlanta was able to get around Miami? What can Nashville take from that as a learning that they can apply in this series?
I think it has a lot to do with what they are, right? Like you need to be gritty. You need to press Miami constantly. You need to not let them play. You need to cover Messi with 1 or 2 players at all times. You need to cover all of their guys really, but it's about being proactive. You can't, if my opinion, if you sit back, you're just going to allow them. You need to constantly press. You need to harass. You need to not allow them to play the way they want to play. That's what Atlanta did under Rob Valentino. He just made them gritty and determined. I think the issue for Nashville here, I feel like, is on the season this year, they have, like, Miami's had their number every time. Now, like, we had that problem. Like, it was the opposite with us in Miami. Orlando City, we had their number all season, and then it came to the Leagues Cup and they flipped it on us. So maybe Nashville can do that. Maybe there's learnings from these losses. But if you don't stop Lionel Messi, then you're not. Like, you gotta, number one priority is someone needs to be stuck to him like glue. And if you get in his head, you can really upset him and frustrate him, and he'll lose his head. But you have to basically make it where he's so annoyed because he can't play. That's what you got to do.
Yeah, I think the middle of the park has to be so frustrating for him. I almost think back to like when just some of the epic games between Miami and Orlando, right? Where, like, granted, this was still with Cartagena was not hurt and playing, and
Araujo, dude, Wilder.
Those guys would just, bro, they'd make every time he touched the ball, like they made him work for it. Every blade of grass he tried to get the ball and advance in, it wasn't without contact. It wasn't without being felt. And you have to make this game scrappy to have a chance, I think, against Miami. And I think on top of all of what John said, for me, Mukhtar, Surridge, they got to be as clinical as they were in the regular season. Bro, listen to this stat. Between the two of them, 51 GA. 51 GA going into this game. So there's so much opportunity here, I think, for Mukhtar and Surridge to continue that momentum, keep it going, feed off each other. And, bro, if they get an early goal in this first game, I think anything is possible, bro. Anything is possible. That all built momentum. So with that in mind, let's make our pick. So how are we feeling about Miami, Nashville? Rollins, what's your pick? I know John's probably gonna be the Messi hater here, so let's just go with Rollins first.
Hey, you think he's gonna pick Miami?
Oh, you're on mute, John. You're on mute, John.
I'm usually the Messi hater, so I'm gonna say you're gonna lose your stuff. I'm gonna back Sam Surridge. I'm gonna say this right now. Sammy boy, I've been hating on you all year. Now is the time to do me right here and go knock out these Miami boys. All right, they're not that good. They think they're better than you, but you just gotta hustle. Look at what Seattle did in the Leagues Cup. Nashville can do that. They've been doing that against teams all year. I think the defense is better than Miami's, really, over the 3 games. I think it should be better. And if Surridge and Mukhtar can perform like they have been, they've been in the MVP race, they've been up there in the stats, then you've got 2v1 if Messi's the only one really doing stuff for Miami, right? Like, they have a lot of other guys, but if you can stop Messi, I think you stop a lot of what they do. And I think Surridge is going to be up for it. So I'm going to go for Nashville. I think they finally flip it and and do their thing. I mean, it could not happen. Messi could ball out, but if anyone could knock him out, I'm thinking Nashville could do it.
I'm thinking that too. I don't know why. I feel like of everybody in the East, they have the best chance to do it. To be Cashville, baby.
Yeah, they're not championship DVD for no reason, you know.
Yeah, that's a clean sweep, bro. We were ready now. Let's move on, because
let's go, man.
The more I sit here and talk about, I'm getting passionate over here. The more I sit here and talk about,
gonna be hating now.
No, and I love it. I'm here for it. And I always back my shit anyway. I'm sick and tired of the narrative. Let's get them out of here, bro.
Yeah. I agree, bro. I agree. Cashville in 3. We stand on business. We move on. We move on to the Hell is Real Derby. This is a big one, man. This is a big one, but I'll be honest. It might be not the least excited for a Hell is Real Derby that I've been, but it's somewhat down there. Like, this is not prime Columbus. At the end of the day, it's not prime Columbus crew, and so Nancy's really gonna have to work some managerial magic here I think, to keep up with the X factor that Cincinnati seems to have. I don't know. For me, this is super straightforward, but you guys are the Eastern Conference, representatives here. I really want to kind of get your take on how you view each side, mainly Columbus. I think we all understand how strong Cincinnati can be. Do the Crew stand a chance, even at home?
Yeah, they do always. I mean, I think the Columbus Cincy history here has got a lot to do with the fact that Columbus are going to be a threat. I think there's that rivalry that will play into it, but they're not going into the end of the season as well as Cincinnati are. And I think maybe the Wilfred Nancy like masterclass, I don't want to think it's over, but I think it's not as strong as it once was in MLS. I think he used to tactically have the win those battles constantly against his opposite number, and they just haven't really been managed to do that as well this year. And their last 5 games, they've only won 1 against the Red Bulls on the end of the season. Whereas you look at look at Cincy, they've got 4 wins and 1 draw in their last 5 games. And I think the triple threat of Denke and having, obviously Evander, and now they've added back in Brenner. I think between the 3 of them, one of them is scoring a goal a game. Like, I don't think you can keep all 3 of them out. So Columbus, they need to score multiple goals a game as well. And I just don't think they have that attack at the moment. There's a reason they were in 7th. I'll just say that.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, they kind of they more or less, like, realistically, from my perspective, I feel like they just don't have, like, ever since really losing Kucho, I feel like they really lost that firepower that they really had to kind of just push forward and continue, kind of attacking teams in that way. They haven't really recovered since, and I think that's a very telling story in terms of, like, where they finished, obviously, to end the season. So
let me ask you really quick. The one silver lining from Columbus's standpoint is you have some Last Dance vibes with Nagby. There's that, right? Like, there is that, and
is that enough? But is that enough to get the job done?
I personally, on paper, to me, it's not. But, like, again, games aren't won on paper, right? So, like, when you see that come into play, we could have made the case for Miami, right, with Boosie and Alba, but we talked about that before. I think Nagby being a perennial champion, it feels like, I don't know, they're gonna do everything possible for this guy. He's the best teammate. Everyone has just nothing but amazing things to say about him. He's a leader in that locker room through and through. I think he's gonna obviously be so up for this game, and he's gonna have to be, right? He's gonna have to be. He's gonna try to find a way to stymie Evander in the middle of the park. He's got to try to find a way to cut off service to anybody up top, Denke, Kamara, whoever it's gonna be. So it's a big ask, but I'm wondering, from your perspective, guys, does that even factor in here?
I don't think it does, but I don't think it also gets done in 2. I think this gets done in 3.
I agree with that.
Because it is a rivalry, and the passion of wanting to beat your rivals is going to be there. Since he's going to do it, but it'll be over 3 legs, not the 2, and that's how that'll get done. Columbus is such a strong team, and it's hard to always, like, not bet for them. It's hard to bet against them. So
yeah,
as much as, like, optimistically, like, what we would normally see would be Columbus is a heavily favored team, but I think this year Cincinnati did enough to not only turn their own team around, but to kind of change that narrative on themselves and on that roster as a whole. So
yeah,
they got this over 3.
I agree. All right, let's go back to the top, man. Let's get it popping again. We'll go with San Diego, Seattle. Give me your picks, guys.
Oh, that's tough.
Super tough.
I'm gonna go Seattle.
Is it the experience, John?
Yeah.
It's.
I was gonna go.
They're always there. Like, they find a way in the playoffs. They are, in my opinion, the best team in the playoffs always. Like, in terms of how far they progress every year.
Yeah. They always find a way. It's true. Even when their offense just isn't there, they're not clicking. The back line seems to be the anchor, and they just find a way to grind out games. And even if it, again, this is not a best of 3, right? Keep in mind, it's a one-off. So, like, even if they're playing away, bro, I just feel like no matter what, they just have to get to a point where they create the one-off opportunity, the one-off chance. Somebody's going to bag that goal. And the back line is stable enough where it's just like you can bunker down, keep everything in front of you. Even if Chucky Lozano is present in the postseason, creating havoc, Dryer's creating havoc, I feel like they'll be ready. And that's the biggest thing. They'll be ready for this. So I don't know. I'm really inclined to agree. I think it might be the Sounders.
I think it's the Sounders.
All right.
I think that's
fair
it.
enough, man. Fair enough. We have them going to the Western Conference Final, and on the opposite side, John Rivera.
I told you it's getting done. If this happens, it gets done. And I mean, realistically, I'm very scared of Philly. I'm not at all concerned if it would be Charlotte.
Not at all concerned if it's Charlotte.
Not at all concerned.
Smith?
Okay, so let's put it to you this way: who would have more pressure in this scenario? Triple G just knocked out Philly. Dean Smith has more pressure. He has a pedigree.
Yeah,
the Fire is still moving with the same perspective here.
Yeah, and we can all agree, right, at the same time. Well, I don't know, maybe we don't agree.
The momentum would be massive if you beat Philly. That is like we saw with the Red Bulls. Like you're on a roll now.
In a 3-game series too. So then you go into this game, you're thinking, bro. And again, I don't think there's a scenario where Chicago's overconfident. It's just a scenario where you're confident, right? It's like we're the underdog no matter what, every single playoff, every stage of playoffs going in. So if you knock out the number 1 seed in the best of 3, every other game from then on, it's like we can do this. We can do this against anybody now. We know that.
You approach it in the same way. You go there and you attack. You're not at home. You have to push forward. You have to. So if it happens, who has more fire? Who has the firepower to do it? I think the firepower have more fire. Pardon the pun, but they have more firepower up top than Charlotte does.
Yeah,
and
I mean, you go in and sit deep in Charlotte and frustrate them and hit them on the counter. I can see it. I can see it.
Yeah, I agree. And if it does net out this way, Chicago takes Philly. How does that affect who's home?
Charlotte would be at home.
It would be at the bank, right? Because of the higher seed.
Would be a big advantage to them.
It would, but I still feel like Chicago can do a job on the road because of the momentum that comes with the Philly result. So,
not only that, but we played well on the road all season. So.
Yeah, there was a whole part of the first half of the season where you guys were significantly better on the road than at home. It was night and day different. So so are we locked in for Chicago?
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey man, they knocked me out. I'm on the Fire train. Let's go, baby.
Hey, listen.
Let's do this.
Chicago Fire going to be there in the Eastern Conference Final. All right.
Wow.
All right.
The comments is going to be wild.
Woo, man. It's going to be good, man. I'm here for it. Now, going down to this next round, the second round between LAFC and Vancouver. This is a matchup that consistently comes into play in the playoffs.
Yeah.
LAFC always have Vancouver's number every time, bro. There's got to be a path to exercising the demons here. There has to be if you're Vancouver.
I think this would be it.
I'm gonna go Vancouver.
Yeah, I think this would be it.
I think Mueller in this scenario, I think tactically they would find a way to, play LFC against, use their assets against them. I think there is a way to be able to use the space against LAFC if you want to play that way.
Yeah, I do too. And I think that, this is nothing against Sartini because I think he was a great coach in Vancouver once upon a time, right? And I think emotionally the fans rallied around him really well. But I think Sorensen I think he sets Vancouver up very well. He's up for manager of the year, and I think he should win it from my perspective, either him or Carnell. But putting that aside, I feel like on the West, he's arguably the best manager. And I think that, you look at this game and how he plans to set up, right? Dallas could be, from his perspective, a great kind of warm up to get ready for someone like LAFC because they're going to find a way to keep the game super physical, super scrappy. And LAFC will get their opportunities. There's so much firepower on that team. Do not get me wrong. They'll probably take a game for sure. But I'm really liking what I see from Vancouver, man. Really like what I see from Vancouver. And they're going to have the advantage. They are the number 1 seed. They will have the home field advantage at BC Place. I think it's going to be difficult for LAFC to overcome that. So I think we're clean sweep, man. Clean sweep. Yeah. I think it's going to be Vancouver that takes LAFC. Cherundolo waves, kind of rides off into the sunset from that perspective. And we may see Tata Martino get ready to take his spot potentially going into next season. We'll find out. But it's going to be a clean sweep for Vancouver. And then finally, this is a juicy matchup. This to me is like, I know we were all Cashville against Miami, but I think Cincinnati is it's a different ask. It's a different ask.
Team.
Yeah.
Very different ask.
Different team, but for that particular reason, coming off the high of beating Miami, I think that's when they crash.
Yeah, it could be. I just think Cincinnati also has just as much X factor as Nashville does, man.
And they would host.
Yeah, and they would host. And so I don't know what Cincinnati, Ohio looks like in November, in October, November, but
it's cold. It's probably cold. Probably cold right here.
I feel like if Philly are out, this is Cincy's year.
Yeah,
really.
I think this is their year.
Man.
I do.
I'm inclined to agree. That's it. I'm kind of calling on this
jumping
channel
the head here, but
as an Evander hater, but like I feel like he has to step up in this game, and if he does, if he shows the MVP caliber form that everyone seems to think he has, yeah, it's gonna be very difficult for Nashville.
I feel like they've got 3 guys who can step up. So even if he misses, like if there's one of these games in the playoffs where Evander isn't there, I feel like Brenner or Denke is going to come up with that moment of brilliance. Like that's what we've seen from them, is that they have enough coverage of that guy to get it over the line, and that's kind of how they've lived all season.
Yeah,
and I think they'll continue that way in the playoffs. So,
yeah, I think it's just Cincy. Like it's like what ceiling is higher, right? Like they're both great teams, but what ceiling is higher? And I feel like Cincinnati's is right up there too. So, I think I and Hector probably hate this pick. He'd probably be fighting for Cashville every step of the way. But yeah, man, I'm with Rollins on this one. I think it's going to end up being Cincy. So I'm going to lock that one in. And then here we go, man. We got the conference finals, which would, by the way, if this was, I think for the most part on the West side, this is somewhat predictable. And then I think on the East side, one of these teams probably very predictable. The other one, not at all. So let's talk about West and we'll go over to the East side. But Seattle, Vancouver is a juicy matchup. This is perennial playoff team against arguably the best team in MLS.
Yeah.
So, man, this would be wild. Does Muller's championship mentality and everything he's accomplished really come into play here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
For sure.
I've never seen a more impactful DP immediately than what Thomas Müller has done for Vancouver. Like they were already good, but like the way he's just integrated with that team seamlessly so far, and I feel like he's an X factor Seattle don't have.
Yeah.
Right. And Seattle, yes, the playoff experience, but I think for Vancouver at this point, when they've knocked out at Austin, they knocked out LAFC, I really feel like Seattle is just that next pin that they're going to knock down.
Yeah.
And it will be tough. But they'll have the home team advantage.
Yeah. And at this point of the year, you also have to, or this point of the playoffs, you also have to expect that Brian White's probably back.
Yep.
Ryan Gauld is in better form after he's spent most of the entire season on the injury list. And so you add those pieces. If Jaden Nelson kind of gets going on the outside, dude, there's just so much to like about Vancouver. It's crazy. And again, we've talked that way about Seattle as well, but I just feel like they're more complete. They seem more complete by the experience that Seattle has.
The more players you list, the more I'm more convinced that Vancouver's going to win. Would win that game. Yeah.
They only played once this year, and it was a 3-0 sweep by Vancouver.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be tough, man. It's tough to stop that train. It really, really is.
Yeah.
So, and I think if Seattle goes out at this point, it's where we expected them to be. I don't think Schmetzer's men can really look at that and be like, oh, we let the fans down, or we didn't, really reach our ceiling in these playoffs. This is probably where we expect them to. If they were to go out, this is probably where it's going to happen. So, I'll agree with that. I think it's going to end up being Vancouver in the MLS Cup final, and that brings us to Chicago, Cincinnati. And John, I will say, Rivera, this is the tallest task.
Like, it would be. We lost both games to them this season, I think. But if I remember correctly, we lost both games to them. So revenge game. let's.
So you're overdue. You're overdue.
No, we're overdue for a win. But if it were to happen, I think like the high of riding the end of this season, you beat Miami in this final stretch, you beat Philly. You got to the that's enough. That's where we bow out. We say we're good here. We had a very good season. Let's build on this for next. and you build on that, and you can, use that to attract some players to come in. We can kind of fix some of the other issues that we have in the defense, and you just build off of it. I think this right here is probably, if you were to tell any Fire fan, you're gonna make the play-in, so you're making playoffs. You're gonna make the play-in, but you're gonna go all the way to the conference finals, bro. They're like
huge.
In
dub.
what world?
Huge
Yeah.
dub.
But that would be a huge dub for us. So
yeah,
I think logically, even though the heart says let's make MLS Cup final, I don't think we're making that. So
yeah,
let's be realistic here. Let's put Cincy there.
yeah. I agree. No more notes from my side. I think it would be a massive win to get to this point for Chicago. And if we do get this prediction right, whoo, man, I might be unbearable again. We'll find out. I don't know. We'll see. But I think this will be a huge step for Chicago to get to that point. But Cincinnati is, in my opinion, just the more clinical team on multiple fronts, which leads us to the MLS Cup final. And this would be a juicy final, man.
Yeah.
Vancouver, Cincinnati. Even if we got any part of the brackets wrong up to this point, I still think this is a very logical final. This is probably what a lot of people have in their bracket challenges and the brackets they filled out leading up to this point.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a juicy final. So how do we even break this down? Like, do we feel like this is so close that it could end up even going to PKs in the final? Like, is there any sort of key separator here? How do you guys feel?
I think Mueller gets it done. I think
if they get to a final, it's like, hey, he's going to take over.
I think he gets it done. The amount of just serial winner that guy is, you know what I mean? Like, just I get it, Bayern, but still, the amount of championships that guy's won,
Germany,
it's just insane. I think let's look at it from the perspective of like, is Evander even comparable to Thomas? No,
different player, but
different player. But I'm saying like I'm talking about the impact. I'm talking about the impact.
Yeah.
Not like the player as like, performance wise, but just the impact that he can have towards a team. I don't think Evander's that kind of player. I just don't think that Cincinnati has that in their team. Yeah. So, and with the amount of guys that they have, that Vancouver has in that roster that can just light it up and perform well, and we've seen it. Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go the other way. I think it would be Cincy. They'll host at home in this scenario.
Yeah.
I something about them this year. I think that they're, even when they don't play well, they've managed draws and wins. Like, I think they're just in that mode where things are going their way, and they might this will be a tight game, but I think they're just gonna have something that's enough to get over the line.
Yeah,
it's gonna be tight, but I could also see Vancouver winning it.
Yeah, it is gonna be tight. I'm trying to think if there's one piece of what X factor on the field that really kind of separates these two teams. It could be Mueller, it could be Evander. You then look at guys like Denke, you look at Brian White if he's kind of firing at that point. Even in the back, right? There's so many pieces that you can really kind of point to and say that guy could be the difference. That guy could be the difference. But yeah, man, I think if it comes down to these two teams, man, I got to back Vancouver. I've been backing them all year. I feel like they've been my number one team for so long. It would be a terrible idea to abandon ship now. So I do think that Vancouver will get the job done. If they end up getting to the MLS Cup final, that would be instant impact. Like John Rollins said earlier, from Mueller's standpoint, I think the only other DP I can think of who's been this successful from the get-go is probably Giovinco back in 2017. But that's really it with Toronto. So yeah, man, I think for me it could be Cincy, but I think majority probably rules here. I'm gonna go with Vancouver. So there it is, man.
I'm not mad at it. Yeah. I think everybody would smile watching Thomas Mueller lift MLS Cup.
Yeah, well, except for Cincinnati fans, but
Cincinnati fans scenario. But you know what I mean. I think it's, in terms of villains in this league, he's not one. He's a good guy, and we want to see the good guys do well.
Yeah, I agree, man. I agree. Well, look, guys, That is it. That is our entire bracket. All predictions for the MLS Cup playoffs in 2025. Guys, look, I know we had some crazy takes potentially in there, unless we're geniuses. We'll find out. We'll see. Definitely let us know. Sound off in the comments below. Let us know how you feel. If you have a dark horse in this tournament, a big upset coming, maybe it's Nashville versus Miami. Hell, maybe it's Dallas taking it over Vancouver. I'll back you on that one. But at the end of the day, I think this is hopefully going to be a great postseason, wrap season all the way with a nice, neat bow, and give a lot of fans, a lot of teams excitement for what's coming in 2026. So with all this said, if you haven't done so already, man, do me a favor, like the video down below, subscribe to the channel. We're going to be reacting to these various rounds as we go through. And look, you know how MLS playoffs always are. There are giant gaps in between some of these rounds as well. And so there's going to be obviously plenty of space to fill with content and whatnot. So there's plenty of videos coming to the channel. If you enjoy MLS content like this, again, subscribe down below. Plenty more to come. We're going to keep you guys fed very well. All right. But that's it. That's going to do it for us here at Wake Up MLS. So from everyone here at GOLZ TV, my name's Jose. That's John Rollins. That's John Rivera. We'll catch you guys next time.